Let's go.
The glitziest premiere for Turning Red may have been in Los Angeles, but it was the Canadian homecoming that counted most. Some of the film's star voices and the director, Domee Shi, are from here, and the movie is set here.
When I first pitched it, it was like a Chinese-Canadian girl going through magical puberty, set in Toronto in the early 2000s. And it was just so specific that I think it made the idea stand out, and that's what drew Pixar to it.
I'm Maylin Lee, and ever since I turned 13, I've been doing my own thing, making my own moves, 24/7, 365.
The sights are easy to see. The CN Tower, the streetcars, even the old Sky Dome gets a shout out.
It's the whole thing about you can self-identify. You know what I mean? For Canadians and especially for Torontonians, I mean, you'll know the streets. You'll see this. You'll see the CN Tower in it, and it makes you proud.
But replicating Toronto, making every cityscape postcard perfect, that was the easy part. Capturing Chinese Canada, that was much more personal.
So there's that kind of sort of Canadian representation, right, in the film.
Yeah.
There's also Asian representation, Chinese representation.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is, I mean, you see it,
Yeah.
right? In the faces, you hear it in the language and the accents, you see it in the traditions. But I'm kind of curious, like if you really kind of dig down under the hood, so to speak, the layers of representation that you guys must have had to really put thought into,
Yeah.
right? About how do we do this authentically?
Yeah.
And ways that, you know, maybe a layman wouldn't see or it wouldn't be obvious to them. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, me and my parents are really grateful for Chinatown because that was like the only kind of slice of home that was around when we first immigrated. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is just near the beginning where May and her mom are just like hanging out in the living room, making dumplings and watching Chinese soap operas on TV, and her dad's like stir frying up a storm in the background. I was so excited to kind of put this very slice of life moment into the movie. That just felt very typical from my background, but like not a lot of people know about. Like not a lot of people know that Chinese dads cook really well. Like they cook just as much as Chinese moms do.
And if that description sounded familiar, it was also reminiscent of the opening scene of Bao, a short film she directed and won an Oscar for in 2019. But both she and the cast of Turning Red will tell you there's a deeper layer of authenticity they were after.
Our representation is so important, and like when I was younger, I looked up to Sandra because she was like one of the only Asians on screen in Hollywood. In the movie, I think not only is there an Asian lead, but in the background there's so much representation and people of different
Super Toronto.
yeah, people of different cultures, and it's normal. It's just there. There's no they're not emphasizing it like look at what we're doing. It's like
Natural inclusion.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or reality.
Reality that we walk in every day. Like that's goes back to what you were saying about that's home. You feel seen.
Yeah.
A part of that is that diversity of like this is what my reality looks like. This is a school that I went to, especially those like little middle school scenes, those bustling hallways. I love that.
Yeah.
What struck me, I guess, when I watched the film was that it doesn't hit you over the head with its Asianness, if
Yeah.
that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not about being Chinese.
Yeah.
It is just part of the backdrop.
Yeah, we're like telling a very universal story with a very culturally specific, like paintbrush almost. But really what I'm excited about is that as we're seeing all of these movies coming out, we're redefining what universal stories look like and who gets to tell them. And you're absolutely right, like this story is not specifically about a girl being Chinese, but like it's telling this universal story about a girl just struggling with bodily changes, with her mom, with growing up.
And so I can't help but wonder if your mother's going to watch the film and think, oh my gosh, was I like that?
She knows she was like that because like she saw the trailer where they played a clip of May's mother hiding behind a tree and with sunglasses on, following her to school. And that actually happened to me.
Your mother came to your school when you were a kid.
Yes. My first day of middle school, I thought I had made some new friends. We walk out of the building, and one of them says, "Hey, who's that lady behind the tree?" And I look up, and it's my mom, like peeking out, and she wore sunglasses because she thought I wouldn't recognize her, and she was just worried about me. She was like checking in,
Just
but-
making sure you're okay.
Yeah, in that moment, I really like literally wanted to explode. So I had to put a girl going through that, like literally exploding in the movie.
There is at least one other way turning red is a sign of progress. It's Pixar's first feature film directed by a woman and led by a creative team full of them.
I mean, it wasn't something we like super consciously set out to do, but it ended up being so awesome that most of the key leadership on the show were women. And I think that led to a lot of bold filmmaking choices in the movie. And I think it was because a lot of us had that experience of growing up, of all of those awkward moments of getting our periods, of our moms embarrassing us.
Mama's girls.
Could this film have come together the way it did without that kind of a makeup in the team?
I think like this movie wouldn't be the specific movie it was without the leadership on the team, without the crew.
It's just so great for us to be able, and for Pixar to have said, hey, Domishi, we believe in you. We want to tell your exact story. And for all of us to have a place to be able to help her vision come to fruition, we just want people to enjoy it.